Welcome, everybody, to Break Road 35 International. My name is Steve Hoffman. Glad you could be with us for another training session. And we're going to get right into this. I'm a little bit under the weather with my voice today, got a little sore throat here. But this is how to do a live demo. And we talked about this on our last training. Just a reminder, just one slide here about negative ions. They're odorless, they're tasteless, invisible molecules that we inhale in abundance in certain environments. Think mountains, waterfalls, and beaches where you're going to find a lot of the negative ions that are in our Pure Essence sanitary napkins. Once they reach our bloodstream, negative ions are believed to produce biochemical reactions that increase levels of the mood chemical serotonin, helping to alleviate depression, relieve stress, and boost our daytime energy. Now, the reason for mentioning that is something you want to discuss when you are talking about the negative ions later on in your presentation. And again, please mute your microphone because I hear somebody in the background. But the reason why you want to do that is because it's not just for women. As I always tell people, I have panty liners I wear in my shoes that got rid of my foot pain, also arthritis in my knees, and there's other people reporting it. Now, it's something that we don't technically market as, the benefits of the product, but it happens to be that it is working in those areas. And if you research negative ions, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And we do have a training on that, so I did provide you that information. Now, ions are molecules, because there are positive and negative ions, that have gained or lost an electrical charge. They are created in nature as air molecules break apart due to sunlight, radiation, moving air, and water. Again, I do hear somebody's mic on, so if you can mute your mic. You may also have experienced the power of negative ions when you last set foot on the beach and walk beneath a waterfall. That's where you'll find a lot of the negative ions. It's in the air. So the longer it's exposed to air, it'll start breaking apart. So if you're putting the panty liners like in your shoes, you may want to change it every couple days. Now, let's get into how to do a live demo. It's important that we do as many live demos as possible because this is the way you build your business. First, you want to compare the exterior packaging of the two products, which is our product versus the competitor's product. And our packaging is much better quality, made with foil, and it's also resealable, as a resealable pouch. And you need to also say this disclaimer when you're talking about our product, because Pure Essence is not a medicinal drug. It cannot treat symptoms of any disease. It's in bold because it's important that you do it. Now, this is being recorded. Hopefully it's working, and you can write this down when listening to it again. Again, Pure Essence is a medicinal drug and cannot treat symptoms of any disease. Most packaging from other companies also is made with plastic. Okay, and we all know plastic is toxic. And there's reports about out there women getting toxic shock syndrome. Next, once you open the packages, have the people see and touch each product. They'll notice the quality advantage with Pure Essence. You can almost see it and feel it. They'll also feel that Pure Essence is softer, especially that layer 2. And layer 2 is what we call our top layer, but it's layer 2. The side panels are layer 1. But they'll notice there's a difference. They will also feel Pure Essence, as I said, is softer. The first thing you want to mention in regards to the comfort is it's softer, because that's one of the big pluses. What we have is softer. Place both products on the table using the adhesive on the napkins. In the back, there's a napkin. So you tear that cover off and you place it side by side, a little distance between each other. And the reason for that is if you're applying the water to the other product, it may run and go on to our product. So you don't want that. So you want to, in fact, one of the products I use, and I don't mention names when I'm doing the products, the competitor's name, I just call it brand X. I had to put paper towel between them because it was running off so much. So again, you also need to mention that our product is all natural, including the adhesive, because we're talking about right now, you're placing it on the table and you're using the adhesive. So you want to make sure they know that that adhesive is from plant sap. It's all natural as well. And you'll hear him talk about this in the presentation. We have an SGS lab report, and you can Google SGS lab. It's one of the leading labs in the world. I don't know of any other sanitary napkin that has an SGS lab report that shows there are no chemicals made in using our product. Now let's get into the actual competitor, okay? What's that about? And for some reason, we got these markings on the side here. I don't know if it's coming from my computer. I want to see if I can disable that here and get rid of that. That doesn't look like I can do that here again. No, apologize for those watching the recording. These little lines there to the left, I can't get rid of those. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on my presentation. Hopefully it won't be on the recording. Anyway, let's continue here. This is now the competitor. This is where you should talk about the competitor's products. We're told not to mention the name of brand X, so we'll just refer to it as brand X. We keep it generic. Points you should cover include the following. We're going to break these down. Brand X is made from recycled trash, and you can say such as newspapers and magazines. And we all know recycled trash is not white. So brand X, that needs to be dyed white since it's not naturally white, okay? So it needs to be dyed white using chlorine bleach, which is a dioxin. And dioxins are one of the strongest man-made poisons. And you want to get this point across that this bleach is being used. And you'll hear us talk about the term backflow. If you don't know what backflow is, that's the recycled blood that comes out of the body but enters back into the body, because a lot of these pads are not, or napkins, you call them pads or napkins, they're not absorbent or very absorbent. So when women stand up, sit down, move around, the blood can re-enter into the body, and that's called backflow, which will take some of this dioxin in with them, which is not good at all. And again, I hear somebody's got their mic on. If you could mute the mic, please mute your microphone. Okay. All right. Need to see that. Please mute your microphone. All right. Maybe we'll get rid of these lines here. Okay. So please mute your microphone. So it's important that you understand about the backflow. Brand X does not prevent pain and cramps, and you want to bring that up as well. We're talking about prevention. We can't say cure. You don't really want to say cause. It's a lot just safer to say prevention. Can it cause it? Yes, but when we're marketing and advertising, we don't say that. Brand X does not prevent cervical cancer, and it could be a part of the cause. And that's what we're seeing reports out there, that it could lead to that. And we know there's an increase in cervical cancer out there. Brand X usually creates a bad odor. And that's because of the blood that's sitting there, the bacteria that it's collecting is causing that. Brand X is typically not biodegradable as well, mainly because of a lot of it is made with plastic. Not just the outside packaging, but also the actual product itself. When it's damp and you're taking apart their product, you'll see you're doing the layers and you stretch it, you can really see the plastic that's involved when you're trying to tear brand X when it's wet. Through backflow, bacteria, germs, and dioxins are entering back into the body. And that's something that you want to talk about when you're doing your demo. Brand X can become damp and needs to be changed frequently. It's not very comfortable as well. We're bringing in the comfort issue. Okay. Number 5, cover the advantages of Pure Essence. The following needs to be said. So we just talked about the competitor. Now let's talk about what you want to mention with Pure Essence. And you can do this throughout your presentation. It's all natural, no recycled trash. And that means there's no dioxin. Okay? We'll mention that again. But we had that SGS lab report that talks about no chemicals are used in the manufacturing of our product. It's naturally white since it's not recycled trash. Made with cotton and paper. It's made with from absorbent and sterilized paper, cotton, and polymer gel, which is plant sap. So again, none of that are chemicals that are being used in the manufacturing. All natural. You want to bring that up while you're doing your presentation. And you can do that when you're separating the layers. Pure Essence has 8 layers, including an absorbent side panels. And those are really your layer number 1. They're on the top, on the sides of the top layer that you see. And they will stay dry as well during your demo. And it's important to make women understand that there are 8 layers here, and that includes the adhesive. And that's because most of the competitors are 4 or 5 layers. And again, they include the adhesive as a layer, so do we as well. And that was tested. So people can see that these top layers, or rather all the layers, the no chemicals are used. Pure Essence can help, and the key word is help, prevent pain, cramps, headaches associated with a woman's menstrual cycle. And we're just following instruction here. Can help prevent pain, cramps, and headaches, okay? It's not saying it 100% does, because there are some women that may have a different reaction. Maybe it doesn't get rid of it fully. It could get rid of 75% or 80 or 90% of it. So we just want to keep it that way because everybody is different. But we're seeing great results when it comes to the cramps, pain, and the headache. Pure Essence helps prevent cervical cancer and UTIs. Never say it cures any form of cancer or disease. Now, I will tell you, I've seen testimonials that said women that have switched to Pure Essence, and you can say this is what you've heard from other reports and testimonials, that they no longer have UTIs. And somebody's mic is really loud. Please mute your microphones, everybody. Please mute your microphones. Okay? Thank you. Please mute. I still hear the microphones. Please mute them. Okay. Pure Essence helps neutralize unwanted odor. Now, all this is happening, the cramps, the diseases, the infections, the prevention and the neutralization of unwanted odor is due to the negative ions, okay? Now, obviously, when something's more absorbent, you're not going to get all the bacteria as well, but the negative ions do also help get rid of the bacteria. So the negative ions is important. Now, what you're going to see is somebody's going to say, well, my pad has a negative ion, because there are a few on the market that women use. Not real popular, but there are a few. And I can tell you, when you test them, you take out their negative ion and our negative ion from the pad and get a lighter and light it. You'll see theirs is made with plastic. It'll melt and become hard. And you want to burn out the flame before it burns fully so they can see it hardens up like plastic. It smells like plastic. It looks like plastic. Ours turns to ash. Huge difference. Again, it may be negative ions, but if it's made with plastic, not a real good choice for material, as we already discussed about plastic. Pure Essence is biodegradable. It's all natural. Pure Essence helps prevent bacteria and germs. Again, that's the negative ions and the way they work. Continuing, because there's more benefits here. Pure Essence stays dry all day. Now, I will tell you, when you're talking to women about this, and men out there think differently because they don't wear sanitary napkins. They think this is gross. How can you wear a pad all day? Because they haven't experienced it. And some women are telling me, well, yeah, they'll wear it 1 hour longer, and then eventually 2 hours longer, then 3 hours longer, and then they realize, yeah, I could wear this pad much longer. So yes, it's psychologically they have to change the way they think because they didn't start when they were younger using Pure Essence. They used something else that didn't absorb as much. So they think they need to change a few times a day. And you can talk about this and let them know eventually you're not going to. Some of them immediately. I had one woman, she told me she forgot she was even wearing her pads. She wore it for over 15 hours and it was fine. You hear all kinds of stories. And also it could be based on if they're a heavy flow person or a lighter flow person, or if it's a heavier day or a lighter day. All that matters as well. Pure Essence has a negative ion strip. Okay, and we talked about this. These negative ions are natural, and what helps kill what helps kill germs and the bacteria, as well as helping prevent odor, pain, cramps, acid, and we ask them to research negative ions as well, so they can see it's coming from them. They'll research it. They'll find a lot of good information. We do have a demo you can do in addition to this demo. We discussed last training. It's on the website, so you can look at that training and see how to do the demo for the negative ions. You could put it all together as one demo. Today, we're just talking about the other side of the demo, not the negative ions when you're demonstrating. We're talking about the absorbency test. Letter K, with Pure Essence being so absorbent, it will end most of the backflow caused when women stand up and sit down or any kind of movement. By doing this, your period may possibly be shortened by 1 or 2 days. And again, the word possibly. Not all women are going to have a shorter period. I can tell you my wife is shorter. I've spoken with one woman, her period was 7 days, now it's 3 days. Everybody is different. And it will also help in reducing additional spotting that they may get after their period. This has been reported by some women using Pure Essence, and more that are using, we're seeing this. Items you're going to need when you do your live demo. Before you do your first demo, you need to purchase at least 2 60-milliliter syringes, which can be ordered at Amazon.com. You get a box of 5, I believe, for under $8, and you can sell or give to the people you're sponsoring a couple syringes if you have extra. I usually had extra with me when I got started. I bought a few boxes of syringes. So when you sponsor somebody or you're doing a demo for somebody and they're joining the business, or somebody in your team is there and they don't have it yet, sell it or just give it to them. It's part of business. Okay. So make sure they have it. If those, depending on where you live or country you're from, it could be tax deductible, along with any other items you use for a demo. Even the competitors' pads, even the Pure Essence pads you're using for your demos, it's tax deductible. It's business expense. You will also need to get small, clear plastic cups, and many stores sell this item. I like to use, when I'm doing it, 8 to 9 ounce plastic cups, not very large. They flare out at the top, so they're more narrow at the bottom and flare out at the top. Make sure you have paper towels as well when you're doing that. So that's what you're going to need. Some women also use, or men, or whoever's doing the demo, use a color dye, red or blue water dye. And you want to put that, and you'll add the dye to the water before you use it. So you may use a large glass to fill your syringes in, as well as the 2 plastic cups. Okay, and now what's going to happen is you're filling your syringes with 50 milliliters of water, but before you do that, you want to place 90 milliliters of water in each plastic cup. 90 is what I use. Other people use more. I think you can use more to just show how powerful Pure Essence is over the others. I put in as much as 300 milliliters. You have to stir it around a little bit. You can do that, but I use 90 because the average period is 30 to 50 milliliters a day. We've already added 50 milliliters with the syringe before we put the gel, the polymer gel, into these plastic cups. So make sure it's 90 milliliters. have a couple paper towels ready to go because you're going to use those paper towels. Have a few extra for cleanup, so you need that as well. Then you're going to fill your syringes with 50 milliliters of water. So again, first 90 milliliters of the cup, you're using the syringes to fill that, and then you're going to fill the syringes. So it's a total of 140 milliliters is what we're using. Starting your demo with each of the napkins stuck to the table. So you're sticking to the table, the napkins already. First, apply 50 milliliters of brand X. I do the competitors first, using one of the syringes that you filled with 50 milliliters, applying the water in the syringe near the center of the napkin. So you're focusing on the center area. You can go a little bit off near the top and the bottom of each side, but keep it toward the center, not toward the sides. Gather the people around so they can see how brand X is and that some of the water may be leaking out the sides. Again, it depends on which brand you're using. And so that's important as well. But get the group that's watching, I call it your audience, get them close so they can see it and watch their reaction. And you may see some women have a different reaction than others. And when you see somebody with a strong reaction to that, you can say, that's pretty powerful. This is what you're experiencing. But you're going to see a better reaction when they see the comparison, when they apply the same thing, same amount of water to Pure Essence. Now do the same with Pure Essence using the syringe with 50 milliliters of water. Again, you can use food dye if you want to do that to color it. Apply the water in the syringe near the center of the napkin, like we just talked about, the same way. Keep the people around the table so they can see the difference. And I had one little girl watching one time, maybe 6 years old. She goes, this is magic. And what's happening is you're applying the water really over the negative ion section. And when you're doing that, the negative ion section is going to get wet. And it's going to get darker because it's wet. So that it'll be darker in that area. But it immediately becomes white again. Like the whole area above it, it lightens up. Because with Pure Essence, the gel is so powerful, it's absorbing all the water. And that's due to how powerful our polymer gel is. So it'll get wet, and then it'll get dry right in front of their eyes within 5 seconds. And you'll see it drying up. You'll see the water being sucked through that top layer, which is technically layer 2. And you won't see any leaking along the sides. And that's when you start seeing a reaction, when you start your little minor closes. And so I'll ask the women, so ladies out there, you can see this is wet. This is already absorbing just from the visual appearance. Which pad would you rather use, brand X or Pure Essence? So you're starting to close them as you do your presentation. About 20 seconds, have a volunteer touch the Pure Essence napkin. Okay, they can touch ours first. And the reason for that, it's dry. You don't want them to touch brand X first because it's wet and they've touched ours, their hand's already wet. Some people, I like to do, put your left hand on Pure Essence, your right hand on brand X, or vice versa, however you have it on the table and where they're standing. So they use 2 hands. You can do that, have extra paper towels so they can dry their hands. But if you're only going to use one hand, Pure Essence first because it's dry, and then brand X. And watch their facial expression as well. And you can see, did you see that if she's facing the crowd? Just depends on how you have them stand. It's always good to have them face the crowd if you can, if there you have enough room. You ask your second closing question. So just by feeling it, which pad or napkin would you rather wear, brand X or Pure Essence? And you can even say that with a guy, joke around, because I joke around a lot when I'm with an audience there. And I'll say, I wish I could give my own personal testimonial, but I'm still waiting for my first period. Things like that. It loosens up and lightens up your crowd as well. Okay, number 11. Next, you want to take one paper towel and you're going to place that over each of the napkins. Have a volunteer from the audience press down on each paper towel at the same time. So you're getting another volunteer. If you have more people there, you want to get them involved. If you're doing one-on-one, you got to do it with one person, okay? But have them press down. The paper towels over each napkin, one over Pure Essence, one over Brand X. Have them use 2 hands and press down, okay? By the way, all the volunteers should be guests and not distributors, because you want to see a different reaction. You'll see they may lift one hand that's wet. The one paper towel may be wet from Brand X. And again, if you're doing it one-on-one, you just got to, obviously do it with that one person. You still get the same kind of reaction. Then you're going to lift up the paper towel to the audience so they can see that Brand X is soaked and Pure Essence is totally dry. And then I'll take the dry pad from Pure Essence and I'll put it on top of Brand X and they'll absorb more water. Or you can pass around the paper towels. You give them the one from Brand X that you used and then the one from ours, and you'll see that it's totally dry, okay? Have another volunteer separate the layers on each pad, starting with Brand X, and they'll see that it's all wet. And as they remove the first layer, have them feel it and give it to you. Okay, they're going to give it to you. Have them feel it, and they'll see it's wet. And you can pass around that top layer, okay, so people can see it's wet, all the other people there. Stretch it, because a lot of times you'll see it's made with plastic. When it's wet, that's when it's easy to see that. So, and guess what? Most of the times it is made with plastic. Now you can start taking apart the first layer of Pure Essence for the volunteer. You need to start it because ours is made better and it's a little harder to separate. With the competitors, Brand X, I start off with either one of the top sections, the top or the bottom, depending on how they're wearing it, okay? But that's the top layer, but on one of the top or bottom sides. We need to separate it from our side panels, which is our layer 1. It's on the side of the top layer. Either side, there's a little flap. And the reason why you want to start from there, because it's not completely attached. It's designed that way. But you pull that up, and then you can get to the top layer from the side of our napkin. Okay, so you want to, again, take that side panel, each left or right side, it doesn't matter, removing that. And then you go to our top layer, which is our layer 2 already. You're already at layer 2. And they'll see it's totally dry. And pass that around so everyone can see it's dry. And you can tear it apart and you'll see the cotton fibers, that there's no plastic involved, which is important. The visuals are also important as well as feeling and touching it. Now go back to Brand X and do the same for their second layer. They will see the second layer is totally wet. You can tear this one as well and see some of it's made with plastic. Some of them their second layer actually may even be the gel, okay? So, and a lot of them, it's that way. It's the gel. They don't have another layer. It just depends which product you're using. And then you're going to do our third layer, which is the anion strip, and talk about the negative ions and the benefits of it. And you're seeing right here what they are. We already mentioned it. I don't need to keep repeating it, but the way they are. My wife, she took apart the negative ion from a panty lighter and put it on her forehead, and 5 minutes later, her headache was gone. I mentioned that as a personal testimonial from my wife. You can say, somebody that did that. 16, keep going through each layer until you get to the gel from each napkin. Roll up the gel layer from each napkin and place the rolled up gel layer of Brand X and place it into a plastic cup, one of those plastic cups that we mentioned earlier that's filled with 90 milliliters of water. And have the guests watch what's happening. Preferably, if you can use the dye, I would only use the dye in the syringes and not in the plastic cups. But that's up to you. A lot of times I don't even use the dye because it's so powerful as it is already. But again, you're going to roll up each gel here, place it in the cups. You want to push it down in the cups, both of them, starting off with theirs if you want to. And you can give theirs extra time. Put theirs in the plastic cup first. Say, we're going to give them a head start. We'll put it in the gel. It's not going to absorb really any water, just very little of any. And you put ours and you push it down in, it's going to absorb all of it. It's amazing. And then you can, and what you're going to do is then As you roll up the gel and place it in the other cup of water, have them observe the difference. Pure Essence is soaking up the water. After about 30 seconds, letting it sit in each cup, ask them what happened if they would turn the cup upside down on brand X. And they would say the water would spill all over the place. I said, well, I'm going to show you what happens when we turn over Pure Essence. After 30 seconds, it's going to be totally soaked up. There's going to be no drips at all coming from Pure Essence. That impresses them. Your third close. So by seeing this, ladies, which pad would you rather use? And men, if you were a woman, which pad would you rather use? Obviously, it's Pure Essence. It's going to be drier. Remove the remaining layers from each napkin. They will see Pure Essence is still dry. Now, we're going to have one of the layers that is close, a very fine layer, the sterilized paper, may be a little bit damp because it's against the polymer gel, which is normal. You're against a layer that's right against that gel that it's absorbing the water. It's going to be a little bit damp, but the top layer is not, and that's what's keeping them drier and feeling more comfortable and being able to wear this napkin all day long. Now, the other side of the gel is also going to be dry. There are more layers back there, and that keeps them dry because you have another paper layer, you got the outside layer, and then you've got the adhesive, which is technically a layer when we're talking about napkins. Okay, so it's going to help protect their clothing, which women are concerned about. So you're asking these closing questions again, kind of repeating, which napkin would you prefer to wear? How many women do you know need to see this demo? Another closing question. Make sure you're asking this because you're setting up their contact list. How many women do you know need to see this demo? Who wants to get started sharing this information with their friends and family? So this is a series of closings near the end of your presentation. Important to do. This is where you pass out the paper application. You can find that on the marketing page of our team website, which is steveriza.com. steveriza.com. Make sure you have enough with you when you're doing all this. So hopefully this gave you a good idea about how to do a live demo. Going to stop the recording at this time.